In the black chair. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, he's got a crap ton of money because he doesn't have a girlfriend. He's very sad. Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. And so, yeah, he's still on Amazon, but he's like a little leprechaun on top of a gold. He's got all kinds of like vacation time and stuff like that. He kind of just takes off November, December. Exactly, and that's good. So, and he's running for surveys. Okay, this year. I know, I mean, it's not something that, we're libertarians. It's like down here, it's like under this chair that I'm touching again. Oh my gosh, I touched it again. You're getting pricier online, I noticed that. So I'm busy. Yeah. Make a look at my camera.
Like usually I'm not that one. It's usually me the last one.
Yeah. Yeah. You're,
Well, you're getting today, today.
she's aunt. This works. Yeah, thanks. Great. It doesn't matter. I'm color challenged anyway. I don't say color blind.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just-
Yes. You guys are magnets.
Fun.
Well, you produce all kinds of girls.
I don't use that. But she's left it on that. All of
And this girl actually wants me to laugh. Yeah, oh my God. It's like she works with me.
See?
Okay, it's 5:30. We will go ahead and call the meeting to order of the Common Council. This is a called meeting on February 26th, 2024, here at 5:30 in the council chambers. So we will start with roll call. Dan, would you start us?
Dan Lipke, District 1.
Dylan Moore, District 2. Jake Bissing, City Attorney.
Justin Green, Mayor.
Sally Hadlow, City Clerk Treasurer.
Steve Cray, District 3.
Randy Lee, District 4.
Roger Pennington at large.
Okay, council, we're all present and accounted for, so we will proceed. Start in on the meeting. This is a continuation. This is from the further discussion of the last meeting on, Roger, help me, February 12th, looking over your shoulder. This is a continuation of February 12th. Discussion was had at that session, and so there have been some conversations with our bond counsel and our engineering firm that we still have some discussion points. If there is interest, we will continue. And those discussion points certainly revolve around a time schedule. And so, not that that is the reason for the meeting tonight. The meeting is certainly to have further discussions on a potential bond ordinance that would fund a certain project, a certain water line, a certain amount of linear feet upgrade. So with that, we only have two items on the agenda tonight. However, those both take a little bit of discussion. And so with that, council, we'll proceed with that. I'll go ahead and ask if Mr. Zeller with Frost Brown Todd, he will take the podium first, I do believe. But council, we started this and ended this conversation last meeting on February 12th. What that revenue bond would look like, in particular, the special rate of financing that the city was very successful in getting a green light if we were to proceed with a very, very competitive rate structure. And so that's kind of the crux of where we need to, I think, first chat. Certainly, do we have an appetite for further discussion? And certainly, do we have questions? Since then, you were given the updated document. Sally's got it in front of you for the rate study if you chose not to do the bond ordinance. And as you see, it is almost very insignificant in the rate of that versus what it would be if you did not. So certainly I'll let you guide your questions. Bo has seen the rate study, the updated study, and so Jake has as well. And with that, I know there was questions when we had our February 12th meeting. Goodness, is this a large piece of the pie, a significant piece of the pie? What is that? And as you see, basically it boils down to $1, almost $1 a month is what that cost is showing. So with that, I'll just let Bo take over, or council ask what you'd like to ask of Bo. Where would you like to send your discussion?
I'd like to say something before we get started. It's been on my mind a lot, all of this, and I know this is a bit of a bombshell, and I don't mean to step on toes, but just go ahead and throw this out there. I feel like that we need to hold off on this proposed bond issue and diligently pursue grants and/or other means to pay for it, to pay for part of it or all of this, and I know it is a needed project. Also, considering all of our recent water issues, I just don't feel like we should raise water rates right now. We have a credibility and a confidence issue with the public's perception of our water system right now. And I feel like we should wait possibly until January 2025 to even consider a rate increase. This will give us time to work the kinks out and reestablish much needed confidence in our water system. I think too much has happened too fast, so I just wanted to say that. That's how I feel.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Any other opening comments you'd like to share, council?
Yeah, I think it's it's a little less money, but it's minus $3.3 million of debt that we'd be incurring. So yes, it is $1 cheaper without the proposed revenue bond. But it should be, because we're not going to have $3.3 million of debt that we would be paying on for the next 20 years. So I think this was more about how much water bills were going to go up. I think it was more about, for some of us, about how much debt. Was this the right time to move forward with this project without, I feel, looking for other ways to fund it? I don't think there's anybody on this board that's against improving our infrastructure at all. I think we can all say we need it. I think it's a matter of timing, planning, and how we're going to pay for it.
Certainly. Okay. Anybody else?
I have a couple questions concerning some grants. Have had several conversations last week with Okra. And one of the biggest grants that they had mentioned was a grant by the name of CDBG.
Community Development Block
Yes,
Grant.
correct.
Yep. We don't qualify.
We don't
We
qualify.
do not qualify.
That was a conversation that I had
I've applied for that several times.
with.
So we were, denied, or we just didn't qualify.
We don't qualify because we're current rate.
So our application was submitted, but then it was declined, or it wasn't.
You don't submit an application if you don't qualify.
Okay. Well, okay.
What about a grant by the name of the HELP grant, the Hoosiers Enduring Legacy Program grant? You know if that one was looked at?
Who offers it?
That one was through rural development, is that correct?
Don't qualify for RD.
Is it a rate issue as well?
I believe Westler also looked at grants through SRF to do this fund.
Yep.
And one thing on the rates, Baker Tilly's not here, they're the municipal advisor, but you're going to have to raise your rates given where you're operating and your requirements with USDA. So you're going to have to do something about this.
We're going to have to. Why? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
So your USDA rural development bonds they hold require you to have rates that are at a sufficient level. And currently, Baker Tilly is the municipal advisor, is the attorney, but they're the ones who do these calculations, and their stance is that you're going to have to raise rates.
So after the 2021 rate increase, how long was it before we realized that we were not going to have enough
I
sufficient funds
wasn't
to
around in
operate?
2021.
I mean, did that happen immediately? Did it happen last year? What's the timetable on that looking like? From the rate increase in 2021?
From when it was active and
Yeah, I
when it was
mean,
projected.
well, from the time that the rate increase went into effect, was that rate increase because of bond proposals? I wasn't on the board,
No,
or was it because we needed more funds to operate the water department?
Operating fund.
So how long did it take from the rate increase to figure out that we did not have enough funds to operate the water department? This problem just didn't happen yesterday, did it? I mean, it looked like that we've been very close to running in the red for the last couple of years from the numbers that we were getting. So this has been a problem that's,
Yes, we've been running extremely lean.
yeah,
Extremely
I see that.
Well, council, certainly this is your decision, your vote, and your discussion. But certainly, we don't have to go any further if there's not an appetite, certainly. If there's no motion, if there's not a majority vote, goodness, that's fine. That's the will of the council. Just kind of need to know how we want to proceed.
Do you need a motion to not adopt this ordinance, or do we just?
I'll leave that to the attorney.
Please.
If there's a motion and not a second.
Right, that's the way I understand it. I'm waiting for a motion.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of reiterate what Roger said. I don't think there's one person up here that says that this project is not needed in any way, shape, or form, because we all see the dire need for this project. I'm piggybacking off of exactly what he said. It's a proposed funding issue. It's a timing issue. The excess of non-construction related cost and the breakdown, I think, was a big turnoff for me. I can't sit up here and say that I could do this project and submit to this funding.
Well, and then also to piggyback what Councilman Moore is saying is we were told this would replace 1% of the city water lines. So that's a pretty minuscule amount for the amount of money that we're going to pay. And I understand it. I mean, why do we need this project? Is it because of brown water? Is it because because of the NDOT project? I mean, what was the original mindset of the reason why we need to do this project?
Certainly. And 1% in linear foot is true, but as a delivery system on a main truck, that's not true. So you are delivering a much higher volume than 1% on this 4,000 linear foot.
Well, that was the number that we were given in our meeting that we had.
But in total
Okay.
feet,
Okay, but it was said that we have about 100 miles of water line in the
if
city.
you look at the way that line lays on South Main and what towers it feeds and the total end user, it's more than 1% of end users
Okay, so
by far.
so the reason why we want to replace this is because
It's certainly
it's old.
It's
obviously.
old, yes,
Okay.
an 80-year-old line. You bet.
Okay.
You bet.
Any questions?
Thanks, Bob.
Okay. We seek motion one way or the other. Unless you have questions of the engineer.
I'll make a motion not to move forward with the bond ordinance 2024-7.
Motion made. I'll second. Seconded, on ordinance 2024-7, as a stop. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. If that's the will, we certainly have no business for ordinance 2024-8. And so, with that, let me see. I think that was right.
All right, we have two folks that have signed in for public comment. I believe it's Connie Pendergraft. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Okay. And then Susan Bowling, I believe.
Yeah, I understand a little bit more than what I did.
Okay, no comment?
We got some time to
All right.
figure it out.
Thank you.
Then, board or council, seek motion to adjourn.
Make a motion for adjournment.
Motion made. 5:44. Thank you. And